All right, we're going to be focusing on Chicago again. So I'm going to say this right here, right now. I said as soon as Trump made his announcement to federalize and bring more federal oversight into D.C., and I knew that Chicago was going to be next on his list. And when Trump made his press conference statement indicating Chicago and a few other cities, I knew right then and there, before any other city, before New York, before Los Angeles, Chicago was going to be number one. And so I could say with amount of pride and with some concern that Hardlens Media called it out first. I mean, to the most diehard viewers, hey, be sure to set the record straight. Hardlens Media, Kit Cabello, we said that Chicago was going to be the first city after D.C. that's going to be on Trump's list. Why do I say this? Because Trump plans to send troops to Chicago sometime in September. And already Governor J.B. Pritzker, as well as Mayor Brandon Johnson, have gone on the record to call out Donald Trump. Now, as it stands, the president has been challenged by Governor J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson in the past. In 2024, Chicago did host the DNC convention here at my city. Myself, the Jimmy Dore Show, Do Dissidents, RBN, Matt Weinglass and Craig Jardula Pasta to Go, and the Homeless Left were here as well. The Gray Zone was here. A lot of people were here covering the DNC convention. And one thing was made very clear here. The Democratic Party was going all out to try and, again, not only support, but promote all the legal lawfare against Donald Trump, but at the same time as well promote Trump derangement syndrome. And I remember giving this warning throughout all of the years of the Biden-Harris administration as all this legal problems were coming towards Donald Trump. Those years of constantly being on the fence, I kept on saying to people, you better hope your I's are all dotted, your T's are all crossed, and these prosecutors know what they're doing. Because if they don't, there will be a full hellstorm to pay. And they didn't. And I remember so many latte drinking liberals saying to me, oh, Kit, you don't know. Kit, you don't know. Well, he's coming to Chicago. And what's the pulse? What's the temperature? What's the feeling? Well, I'm going to divide Chicago into three different groups. There's going to be a group of Chicagoans that are going to want this to happen, especially not only in City Hall, but also regular Chicagoans. They're going to welcome this with open arms, to which I have to say, okay, cleaning up the streets, I'm all for it. But the problem is in City Hall, and it's not a Democrat machine. I want to give a shout out to one of my viewers who corrected me on this. It's not the Democrat machine. It is a political machine. So I want to give a shout out to Dr. Nick, one of my viewers on Kick. And I was wrong about that. It's not a Democrat machine. It is a political machine that constantly chews and spits people out. And the only way to get rid of it is not by supporting the two-party system. If you think the GOP is going to save your ass, no, you're wrong. And I want to give a shout out to Matt Weinglass for really articulately pointing that out on a special evening live stream that I did on Friday evening. There's going to be people who are going to want this, but there's a price to pay. Now, on the flip side, there's going to be another group, La Resistance. Already, I'm not impressed because these are the same people who would protest in front of Trump Tower, but heaven forbid, these would not be the same people who would be protesting in front of the Democrat in front of Democrat offices or in City Hall, right? Because the La Resistance will be putting all their bets on Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson and any other Chicago politician to save them. Remember what happened when ICE came here in February? They didn't do anything. Yeah, maybe some lawsuits or legal issues were issued out, but that's it. That's it. By the way, Big Basil says, save Kit from CCOT. Well, if anything happens to me, just remember, continue on the fight, and I love all of you so very, 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 very much, okay? I love all of you, okay? So there you go. Just want to throw it out here. But again, there's going to be the group of resistance. There's going to be keyboard warriors and protesters on the ground. But, I would say to Brandon Johnson, he has some problems with the Chicago Police Department. As well as the fact that, remember, the president of the United States is authorizing this. And then the third group, and that's going to be the neutral people who are scared, and they're going to have to choose a side. People who don't know, people who will be afraid. For the vast majority of Chicagoans, For anyone that's on the right that says, oh, Chicago, you voted for this, you deserve this. No, most Chicagoans don't care about electoral politics because it's been beaten out of us. In fact, I think Misty Winston would be giving us a thumbs up, like, yeah, screw electoral politics. Chicagoans don't engage in electoral politics. 2027 might be the Uno reverse card because of everything that's coming down our way. Now, I wasn't expecting Trump to come in September, but that looks like the case and situation. And it's going to shake up the entire Chicago political machine and all the communities all across Chicago. We're number one on the list. I said that we were going to be the first ones. Hard Lens Media said that we were going to be the first city. I don't take pride in this. I don't. But I just saw it coming. Just like the censorship that's coming. So be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Comment, because it counts as a view. Put in some watch time and share this video because maybe this is the last time you're seeing me. Remember, I love you. But let's play a video from local media in regards to what is going on. Let's go.
We begin with those new details just in tonight about threats from President Trump to use the National Guard to fight crime in Chicago. The Washington Post reporting tonight that the Pentagon has been planning deployments for weeks, including mobilizing at least a few thousand National Guard troops as early as September. Governor Pritzker, who has authority over the Illinois National Guard, saying tonight the state of Illinois at this time has received no requests or outreach from the federal government asking if we need assistance, and we have made no requests for federal intervention. Adding, Donald Trump is attempting to manufacture a crisis, politicize Americans who serve in uniform, and continue abusing his power to distract from the pain he's causing working families. Mayor Brandon Johnson, meantime, called proposed deployment plans unlawful. Our Noel Brennan tracked down the mayor and spoke to a group that is welcoming of this crackdown.
Now, this is going to be, I think it's Flip Chicago Red, to which I have to say, look, they did. I'll give credit where credit's due. They flipped 2 districts red on the November 5th, 2024 election between President Trump and Kamala Harris. Okay. Now, I never thought I'd see that in my lifetime. In fact, I'm pretty sure none of my family members would ever see that in their lifetime. But it happened. It happened. I was like, oh, see, that kind of gave me a little bit of a little bit of a jump of hope. Like, oh, maybe independents can pull this off. But nonetheless, I want to be clear here. I am, for anyone that's thinking that Pritzker or Mayor Brandon Johnson is going to save you, you are not paying attention. Okay, the city is $1.1 billion in the hole, and there's going to be a good portion of the city that's going to be welcoming Donald Trump to come to Chicago. There's going to be a good portion of it. And I don't say like, oh yeah, they're welcoming it, but yes, they're going to be welcoming it because there has been a growing disdain for City Hall and Mayor Brandon Johnson. And I'm going to say this here, right here. It is in my opinion that I think Mayor Brandon Johnson will be a one-term mayor. He will be a one-term mayor. Brandon Johnson will be a one-term mayor. And I know there's going to be a lot of people on social media say, who are going to be commenting, oh, well, maybe this will boost up his numbers. I don't think so. His entire administration, he has been tanking in approval. And when you're more hated than Lori Lightfoot, you are an all-star performer. Lori Lightfoot was a very hated mayor. The fact that Brandon Johnson is more hated than her, it is incredible. I've never seen anything like it. You know, if Jimmy Dore or Due Dissonance or RBN were all have the microphones right here in front of me and say, kid, can you explain it? I'm like, I don't know. You got to work hard to get hated more than Lightfoot. You got to be a complete moron. And the city, bankruptcy won't save us. We're in the hole here. And I know there's right now alleged rumors. These are alleged rumors, so I'm not putting too much stock into it, okay? But there's people saying that maybe Brandon Johnson, according to on some parts of social media, saying he's having health issues. Well, if that's the case, I'm pretty sure maybe there'll be some more notice actions here and there. Okay. That's why you can't believe everything you see on the internet. That's important on that. But what is Mayor Brandon Johnson's plan? What is Pritzker's plan?
Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. and it won't even be tough.
A day after President Trump threatens to make Chicago the next stop for the National Guard, Mayor Brandon Johnson, at a block party on the South Side, offers an optimistic portrait of the city.
This is who Chicago really is.
Oh God, please stop talking, dude. Just Brandon, if you want to save yourself some embarrassment, just publicly say you're not going to run for re-election and maybe give up your power to your deputy mayor. All right, just step down. I mean, do you? Let me be clear. And by the way, shout out to Lawrence Johnson, Chicago, home of the Pope. I mean, I don't know if the Pope of Rome probably has more authority to lead Chicago right now than Mayor Brandon Johnson. How does that sound? That's how bad Mayor Brandon Johnson is. I want to be clear on this. To the people who will be protesting Donald Trump, I'm all for everybody's First Amendment right. You know, there's going to be a lot of news, if there's any news outlets, because let's face it, media is being cut, being skinned alive, but that's a whole other story altogether. For the people who will be protesting Donald Trump and the deployment of maybe federal troops or federal agents coming into the city, there's going to be a lot of roadblocks against you, and you'll be dealing with also Chicagoans who'll be counter protesting you. And I'm not saying like it's all kumbaya. It's not going to be all kumbaya or is that like there's going to be like a full on fight, but the leaders of this city drove us to the point to where we are now being targeted by the president. Okay. I am not a fan of Trump bringing in federal authorities here because I'm worried of what kind of dangerous precedent does this set for future presidents. But I want to leave the full blame to City Hall, to the mayors, to the aldermen. For too long, this city has been hyper segregated. For too long, resources were denied to communities all across Chicago. And I know Chicago's hyper segregated. There's a difference between the north side, the south side, the west side. But you want to know who did that? It's the politicians. And we let the machine run over us. Now, first, I'm going to blame the politicians, but at the same time, too, the buck also stops with us Chicagoans. We're good people. We have the media saying that we just like this kind of stuff, that we like violence happening in our streets. I know that's not the case, but we got to step up. And the main problem are the criminal politicians. Secondly, we got to start taking our communities back through mutual aid, community outreach. It's going to be up to us. These leaders don't know how to lead. They only know how to enrich themselves. That's why we're at right now. It's not just Trump, but it's these politicians. So no, if you're going to be a counter protester, if you're going to be protesting Trump and you're behind Mayor Brandon Johnson, I'm going to give you a side eye because these aldermen, these mayors, past and present, led us to this point. And we let them. Because we let the machine tell us what to do. We let the machine run over us. No amount of military or policing is going to stop any kind of real evil. It comes down to the people. It comes down to the village. Yes, you need security. Okay, yes, you do. Yes, you do. But it's up to us. It always has been. I love my home. I love Chicago. And this is the saddest I've ever seen my city.
What's being painted by the federal government is false. We love one another. We support one another. We put our arms around one another.
In a statement on Friday, the mayor pointed to progress, a reduction in homicides by 30%, robberies by 35%, and shootings by almost 40%.
The people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one, but they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago.
Of course, you know who he was referring to. Chicago Flips Red.
Leaders of the conservative group, Chicago Flips Red, say they have 8 core members, but nationwide support. They welcome the National Guard on Chicago streets.
It needs to happen. It's no law and order.
I mean, if you got the National Guard right there, are you going to rob somebody right there in front of the National Guards? No, you're not.
The president doesn't have authority to send the National Guard to Illinois. That's up to the governor. The ACLU of Illinois argues public safety involves more than just policing, and the National Guard is not the answer.
National Guard are not trained in order to be police officers, in order to...
I think everyone's forgetting what happened in 2020. I saw the National Guard blocking off certain entrances into the city of Chicago during the COVID lockdowns. I remember the National Guard being out there. Even driving on Lakeshore Drive. I was on LSD. No, oops, I don't want to say that out loud because on YouTube's going to say I'm breaking the guideline. But LSD, Lakeshore Drive. And I'm not going to call it by its new name. It's Lakeshore Drive. The other name is too long. All right. There you go.
Collaborate and cooperate with communities. They're trained to do militaristic operations. And so the idea that that's the substitute is really a poor one.
Noel Brennan, CBS News, Chicago.
So how would this roll out exactly? The Washington Post reporting that the so-called Chicago mission would be similar to what we saw out in L.A. back in June when the administration deployed about 4,000 members of the California National Guard and 700 active duty Marines. Mayor Johnson is not the only one worried that the potential use of the National Guard might throw a wrench into Chicago's rapidly falling crime numbers. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul telling me tonight this possible move by the White House could disrupt the relationship local authorities have with federal agencies already, from the ATF to the FBI, which is helping keep crime down around here.
The military being turned against American citizens on American soil is really, with no exaggeration, a sign of authoritarianism. It's just unheard of with regards to the laws of our country and the spirit of what makes our country a great country.
Yep. All right. Well, there's actually updates, though. Here, Mayor Brandon Johnson freezing in real time. He's out of his element. I think Mayor Brandon Johnson, in my opinion, hold on, before I play this video. In my opinion, it looks like he's going to have a moment where he's just going to rage out at reporters, or he's going to have a meltdown. And see, Trump's really good at doing that to people. Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of the city of Chicago, Brandon Johnson.
I want to play something else President Trump said on Friday with regard to your city.
Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough.
Mayor Johnson?
Yes.
Your
God. Oh, geez. That's not good. Oh, boy. That's not good.
It won't even be tough.
Mayor Johnson?
Yes.
Your reaction to what you just heard.
Yeah. Well, listen, the president of the United States of America has repeated this, petulant presentation since he has assumed office. And, if the reporting is actually true, what he is proposing at this point would be the most flagrant violation of our Constitution in the 21st century. The city of Chicago does not need a military occupation. That's not what we need. In fact, we've been very clear about what we need. We need to invest in people to ensure that we can build safe and affordable communities. That's what I've done as mayor since assuming office.
No.
It's unfortunate that this president is working overtime to divide in his attempt to conquer working families and to conquer cities across America. But this is clearly a violation of the Constitution, and we're going to remain firm and vigilant in our commitment to ensure that our democracy is protected and our humanity is secured.
Yeah, that is. If there's ever a word salad, that's it right there. Okay. That's a word salad right here. And I've never seen anyone so scared or frightened And I think, in my opinion, Mayor Brandon Johnson isn't ready. He's not ready for Trump potentially maybe bringing in federal authorities here. You know, so I want to just remove this video here. So they're all saying they have grave concerns, but U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered the National Guard personnel patrolling the streets of Washington, D.C. to be armed as part of Trump's administration's efforts against what he's described as out-of-control crime in the city. So last week, the Pentagon and the U.S. Army said that troops involved in deployment, now approximately 2,000, would not carry weapons, but that doesn't seem to be the case here. Now, other cities are going to be paying attention to this, but knowing Donald Trump and how he operates, this is what he does. This is how he acts, and he is going to have some follow through, or either that he's not want to show weakness. Now, everyone, this also looks like another perfect distraction for us all to forget the Epstein files. The Epstein files. Remember that? Remember those things? Remember those things? The Epstein files? Yes, I think we all remember them. But Governor J.B. Pritzker, of course, is going to be pushing back, and he is definitely viewed as a potential contender in the 2028 primary. If there's ever a test before J.B. Pritzker right now, you better believe that whatever resources the Democrats are going to have, they're not going to put it behind Brandon Johnson. No, Brandon Johnson's done. There's going to be nothing but support behind Pritzker. And see, the thing is now, this is going to be in the game of Pritzker in regards towards how he's going to be pushing back against Donald Trump, what he can and cannot do. Chicago is going to be a political war zone, and it's going to be the game set piece, not for Mayor Brandon Johnson to be involved in. No, Mayor Brandon Johnson, in his moments of weakness, has removed himself as a key player. And anyone who thinks he's going to help out the city, no. Pritzker's going to be using Chicago as part of the game piece, and so is Donald Trump. Donald Trump for personal reasons, because he's got a lot of vengeance in his heart, and he's going to go after all the people that gave him a headache the last 4 years. This is inevitable. This is going to happen. And to anyone who's part of the La Resistance, just remember, the Democrat Party doesn't give a damn about you. All right? This is about how the Democrat Party can gain points. And remember, the Democrats led us here. They led us through incompetence. They led us through their abusive behaviors. And if you think that they're somehow going to help you out, or either that they might listen to you now and change their ways because they need your help, don't go crawling to them. Break away from them. What Chicagoans should do, and I'm proposing this new faction, mutual aid, community outreach, policing our own. Let these politicians on the left and on the right, let the Democrats and Republicans go ahead and play their stupid games, because we got to remove them out like a cancer, just like we got to remove out the Democrat machine like as a cancer, or either that, correction, the political machine that's ruling over Chicago. It's got to be removed out like a cancer. The reason why we're here now, the reason why we're in this situation, and September is going to be a very interesting month in 2025, is because our aldermen, our mayors, past and present, our governors, past and present, and yes, even our presidents, past and present, got us to this point. And we, the people, let this happen. So what I would say to my brothers and sisters in red states and blue states, in small towns and big major metropolitan cities, pay close attention to what's going to happen here in Chicago. Hardlands media said it first. We were going to be the first ones. It is inevitable. And we will do our best to stay live on air and to cover any kind of breaking events that are taking place in Chicago. September 2025 is supposed to be the date. We'll see. But I also want to point this out. 2026 is going to be the midterm election cycle. And in 2027, it will be the Chicago city elections. War Zone Chicago. That's what I'm calling it now.